So, is Twitter shadow banning my message that Trump's cops killed 70% less unarmed blacks in 2019 than Obama's cops in 2015? Now, you have to admit that would be pretty good news for any Trump supporter who's been under the impression that unarmed black killings are going up when they were going down. Now, I am shadow banned by Discus, and they have 750,000 sites that use Discus as their platform. Gateway Pundit, Just the News, many different sites use it. Therefore, I can't comment because I'm shadow banned by the central server boys. So there's 750,000 sites I can't tell about Trump's cops killing less unarmed blacks than Obama's. So I went to Twitter. And, let's take a look at this article from just July 16th. Twitter hack and inside job reveals shadow banning tool is manual and not accidental. Exposes tech giant's massive censorship operation. Well, have they pulled this on me? Well, let's see. Am I that important? Let's take a look at a list of some of the people I've sent the message to, and basically it said, hey, why is no one cheering when we find out that Trump's cops killed less than Obama's cops did? Now, this started with Tucker Carlson saying, well, listen, how many unarmed blacks were killed in 2019? And he went and got the number, 10. Well, if this is a crisis right now, what was it the year before? 2? So I went to find out. Guess what? No one else in the world went and looked at what the previous numbers were to figure out the trend, whether it was up or down and by how much, except smartestmanonearth.ca. No one else went and looked for the previous data point to be able to draw a line and know whether it went up or down. Whoa! So I did. Now, my original source for the number of unarmed blacks killed in 2015 was Mapping Police Violence, and they said 104. And I went, wow, from 104 down to 10, that's 90% less. But then later on, Bill Barr is on a channel, it's Fox somewhere, and says there were 38 killed in 2015. Now, I can understand why they'd want to minimize the number of deaths and why the other group would want to maximize the number of deaths. Is probably somewhere in between, but they both agree on 38 in 2015, down to 10 last year under Trump. So, Black Lives Matter lied when they said cop killings were going up and are in a crisis mode. We need the United Nations to investigate police brutality going up when it was going down. I call it the Black Lives Matter big lie. So I sent this tweet to hundreds of people, okay? And I'm just going to read off a few of them to see if you don't agree. They're Trump supporters who should be happy to find out that Black Lives Matter lied and Trump's cops were killing less than Obama's, right? So you got Alan Dershowitz, I sent it to him. Ben Shapiro, Ben Swan, Blaze TV, Brad Pascal, Breitbart News, Brett Baer, Britt Hume, Buck Sexton, Candace Owens, Carpe Dunctum, Catherine Herridge, Cernovich, Chuck Grassley, Crowder Bits, Dan Bongino, Dave Rubin, Democracy Now!, Devin Nunes, Diamond and Silk, Dinesh D'Souza, Eric Trump, Glenn Beck, Greg Gutfeld, Greg Jarrett, Hispanics for Trump, Huckabee, Italians for Trump, Jack Posobiec, James Woods, Jericho Green, Jim Hoff, Jim Jordan, Joe Concha, Jolie Pollack, John Solomon, Judicial Watch, Kaylee McKennedy, Kevin McCarthy, Larry Elder, Latinos for Trump, Levin TV, Lindsey Graham, Lisa Booth, Louis Gohmert, Mark Dice, Matt Gaetz, Molly Hemingway, Mr. Reagan, Nick DiPaolo, PragerU, Real Donald Trump, personally, several times, Rudy Graceful, Richard Grinnell, Rudy Giuliani, Sarah A. Carter, Sean Hannity, Senator Ted Cruz, Stephen Miller, Stephen Crowder, Students for Trump, Hex Sticks and Hammer, Team Trump, the Duran, Epoch Times, The Hill, The Independent, The Intercept, Josh Bernstein. So Next News Network, Red Elephants, Seeker, Still Report, Tim Cook, Tim Pool, Tom Fitton, Tommy Lauren, Tracy Beans, True Pundit, Tucker Carlson, Victor David Hansen, and Zero Hedge. All of these Trump supporters should have been ecstatic to hear the good news that, oh, it's not true that Trump's cops are killing more than they used to. They've actually killed 70% less. So, what do you think? Do you think Jack Dorsey's shadow banning Twitter site is shadow banning the message that, hey, the riots are all for nothing? Bust their bubble. Trump's cops were doing better, not worse. So, wow, there's the truth. And how come nobody retweeted it? These are people with millions and millions, probably 100 million followers easily, with all the 2s and 3s and 1s in there. You know, how come not one of them retweeted it? The good news that Trump's cops were killing less, 70% less than Obama's. How can they not be passing along that great news? Now, it's kind of neat. It does tell you why maybe I'm the smartest man on earth.ca, because I figured it out and no one else has. Plus, they've stopped me. They stopped the smartest man.ca for short from getting the message out that, hey, you're rioting over a hoax. Besides, systemic racism has not survived the human rights tribunals, right? Don't you have human rights tribunals in your country? You think they've left any piece of racism left somewhere to be complained about? No. So racism, systemic, institutionalized, has been dead for a long time. And all they can do to say it might be there is point at 3 or 4 different anomalies and examples of personal racism, you know, guys who hated the Japanese since World War II, whatever. So, wow. The hoax of Black Lives Matter is that there is systemic racism when the human rights tribunals have wiped them out long ago, and that cop killings were going up when they were actually going down. Now, there have probably been more cops killed this year complaining about increased cop killings when they've really been going down than there were killed last year, and probably this year too. So, Black Lives Matter set off riots based on a false pretense, on a double hoax, and should be punished, okay? RICO, grab all their funds and give it to the families of the dead cops, please. Let's have some justice. So there it is. I think that Twitter is shadow banning the good news from smartestman.ca that Trump's cops brought down killings of unarmed blacks by 70% in only 4 years and should be commended. So when you see a Black Lives Matter sign on the streets, think, yeah, they were successful with Trump's cops in bringing down killings of blacks. Everywhere you see a BLM sign, think, yes, Trump's cops brought them down. Black Lives Matter. All lives do.